Hello there, this is Elson Career before Semicolon, and in this video I'm going to talk about how you can remove, clone, and replace an element with plain JavaScript. So right here on my left I have a console opened, and for the remove example I'm just going to be removing the input field, which is right here. I'm going to be removing this guy, so I show you here in the HTML I have the input right here. So I'm going to be removing it. So if I print it, you can see it right here. Actually, I'm going to do a query selector instead. Yep. So I don't have the array. So right here. So there's two ways you can go about removing an element from the DOM. And one, the more modern way, is actually just call remove. Simple as that. And if I refresh this and I go check, you can see that the input is no longer there. So right here I have it before the button and it's no longer there. So it works pretty straightforward. But this method does not work on any Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, whatever that is called. It doesn't work on any of them. So as of the time of this recording, of course. So the second way you can go about deleting, and that's been with JavaScript since day one, is in the core. So element is a core method. That's what I mean. So you can go about this by calling the parent node on it, and then calling remove child, and then you pass it the element you want to remove. So if I comment out this guy, and I use this guy and I refresh and go back, you see I remove the input just as well. So if I comment this out and I go back, I refresh, the input is back. If I comment this guy and I look at it, the input, it's gone. So this is it doesn't look so good. It's not as straightforward as this first example, but this one is guaranteed to work on any browser, and this one only works for any browser except Internet Explorer. Actually, Opera Mini I don't think supports this as well, so that's something to have in mind. So there you go, we got removing out of the way. Let's see how we can clone an element. So I have right here, I select the H2, this guy right here. I'm gonna be cloning it, so I'm just gonna print it out and see it. I'm just gonna remove this guy, comment this guy right out, and refresh. So I have the H2 here I want to clone. So to clone an element, it's pretty much straightforward. I'm going to call it, and then I'm going to say clone node. So clone node takes an option, and this option, let me first log this so you can better see it. So you see here, you might say, oh, this is not exactly the clone of it because it doesn't have the selecting DOM elements text inside. So to have everything inside the element also cloned, you have to pass it the flag saying true. So now it's exactly match. So if I pass true, it means deep, go deep, select everything, clone everything inside of this element as well. So there you go. This is how you clone an element. So if you just wanna, for example, I'm gonna clone it, but I'm gonna set something inside of it differently, you can just remove the flag. But this is how you clone in JavaScript. So I'm just also gonna comment this guy out for the next one. So how to replace an element in JavaScript. I find this trick, I mean this method is very useful. I use it a lot. So what I'm gonna be replacing, so let's say I want to replace the UL right here. So first I'm gonna grab it, var UL, I'm gonna call it UL. I'm gonna do document query selector, I'm gonna say UL. That returns the first match. Nothing where here is the only one on the page. If I print it out, I got the UL right here. If I look at HTML, it is guys right here. So I'm gonna be replacing it with, for example, a paragraph saying I am the replacement. So to go about replacing an element, you call it, and then you call outer HTML on it. The outer HTML, it's a read and write method. Actually, you can call it, and for example, if I log this out and refresh refresh, you can see it returns a string of the HTML. You know, it returns, grab the old HTML, the whole thing, and it returns a string. But I can also set it to a new one. So if I do UL out of HTML equals to, I pass it the HTML here inside of the string. I'm gonna close this and say I am the UL replacement, and we go check. In the browser, you're gonna see that I have a paragraph tag here saying I am the UL replacement instead of UL tag. You know, so this is a good technique to replace an element. I use it a lot, especially when it comes to drag and drop. Is something I want to make a video about, and I will show you and talk about a little more how you can use these 3 techniques to go about doing those stuff. So there you go. This is how you remove, clone, and replace an element in plain JavaScript. Thanks for watching. See you next video.